I attest that it was real paper in a real envelope, and that I received the documents. Beyond that, whether it's authentic, whether it came from a real person who was actually there at the time, I have absolutely no way of substantiating, except to the degree that I did talk to a lady 10 years ago on the phone for 20 minutes, from whom I assume is the source of the documents. But
go ahead.
It's credible to me to the degree that I can't discredit it, except by my own opinion. I mean, I have my own opinion about the content of the documents. You know, some of it seems rather outlandish to me, or just not quite logical or whatever. But again, it's my opinion, and my opinion is as good as your opinion or anyone else's opinion.
Now, in terms of the content, I think that when one of the key questions and that people have about extraterrestrials, whether they believe in them or not, when they think of it, they think, well, if they do exist, are they benevolent or do they have some evil purpose? What was your conclusion after looking through the documents?
Well, that's an excellent question. I was very intrigued to read the transcripts for that reason. Anyway, the transcripts, the interview transcripts state the agenda of the group, the organization of this particular alien very explicitly and very precisely. It's about as straightforward as you can get. And I don't know what to say except to read the transcripts. I don't. To try to answer your question, whether I personally think the message being communicated by the alien in this case, whose name is, she says, is Errol, spelled A-I-R-L, it's a female-type entity, doesn't inhabit a biological body. It inhabits a doll body. It's like a artificially simulated body that's made of whatever materials, but it's not biological in nature. Essentially, the being who inhabits and animates and operates the body is a spiritual being who has the ability to occupy the body or not at will and animate it, and in fact uses that body through which to operate the spacecraft itself directly through its own mental energies, whatever you care to call it. But to answer your question, whether or not their agenda is hostile or not, I would think that it's not, that their intentions are, as stated in the transcript, to safeguard the Earth, to prevent us or anyone else from destroying the Earth. But their intentions for maintaining the Earth in a stable, lasting fashion is a different question. I think it's pretty clear in the transcripts that they have their own future plans and agenda and reasons to be interested in the Earth and the solar system surrounding it as kind of a jumping off point in their invasion from other galaxies into this galaxy and beyond. They don't appear to be interested in this planet per se, or any of its resources or anything, and that becomes very, very plain when you read the full body of the transcripts and the whole story conveyed by the alien as to why they're here to begin with and what activities they've been engaged in and why, and so forth. That becomes very, very compelling, kind of alarming.
Yeah, well, actually, I was thinking of an analogy. It almost sounds like to me a developer of let's say, a shopping mall. They're probably not that concerned about what happens to a particular anthill in that development, and if it survives, fine. If it gets in the way, fine.
Very much like
really
that.
Matter. Yeah.
Very much like that.
And I think, in some ways,
did you ever read Douglas Adams' books?
I've looked at them a little bit, but not in depth.
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yep.
It's kind of an interesting thing. It starts out with a group of aliens who are the Galactic Construction Company, and they just happen to be passing through the area building their hyperspatial tube or whatever, and Earth just happens to be in the way, so they blow it up, in the process. Taking down with construction. So it's almost like, that's kind of a comical premise, and Douglas Adams is a fantastic comical writer, but that would be the closest analogy I could think of to the point of view that the alien takes in conveying their intentions and the activities of the what he refers to as the refers to their activity as the name of the entity is the domain, sort of like referring to their civilization at large, is the closest English translate word that the lady who did the interviews could use to describe the intent of the meaning of the word is the domain, and it's an expeditionary force for which he is or she is a pilot, an officer, and an engineer. It's all three of those roles. So I thought it was the reason it says in the transcripts that the spacecraft was in the area at all was because their overall mission as regards Earth is primarily to safeguard their interests in Earth and the solar system surrounding it. So they were investigating the fact that there were a lot of nuclear testing going on in New Mexico at that time, and in fact the 509th Bomber Squadron was the air group that dropped the bombs on Japan. So in Alamogordo testing grounds is about 100 miles away from there. So they were buzzing around looking at what's going on with all this atomic, this nuclear testing, which obviously would be very, if gotten let to go uncontrolled, would be very antipathetic to their interest in maintaining or preserving the planet for their own uses. So
now, is there any discussion in the book of a government cover-up, and if so, why was this covered up?
Well, according to the transcripts, it was very much covered up from day one. At the very, very highest levels down, for a very simple reason. The reason being that here the government has in its possession a living extraterrestrial being who is from a force that has tremendous technical and military capability far, far beyond anything ever imagined on Earth. A civilization that has existed for trillions of years, not thousands, millions, billions, but trillions of years. I thought one of the really interesting things in the transcripts is that the alien refers to the timeline of the events of the physical universe in terms of trillions of years. Many, many trillions of years, and the existence of their own civilization and the evolution and development of their technologies and technologies throughout the universe in terms of trillions of years, which is kind of interesting because obviously space or scientists on this Earth calculate the antiquity of Earth itself in terms of billions of years. 4.5 billion, I think, is the popular number, which is, I'm not sure exactly the reasons for the tremendous disparity in calculation of dates and orders of magnitude of dates, but I from my own study of it on the internet, it appears to me that the reason is because of the way we calculate the deterioration of